for and stuff. And the only reason why they started teaching me is because, well, you know, surprisingly or not, I was a little hellion as a kid. No way, I know,
never
right?
guessed this.
I had a lot of energy. I got into a lot of trouble and stuff like that. This is before I got angry, and I just started like, you know, getting into fist fights because I was pissed off. But no, I just had a lot of energy. I was really mischievous, and I got into a lot of shit, was fucking around and stuff. So, you know, they were just going over martial arts with me as a ways to burn my energy, you know. So that was that. And then when my dad passed away, and you know, our brother got into some other stuff. I'm not gonna get into that. You know, my mom got me into Taekwondo at 6, and then from 6 to 18, I was pretty much in Taekwondo. Around 15 is when I jumped into boxing. So I was going back and forth between boxing and Taekwondo. Once I moved up here, I pretty much dropped Taekwondo and then started focusing on boxing
yeah.
and MMA. Or at that time, it was NHB, is what it was known as.
Because I think when you and I first started hanging out, you were mainly doing boxing. And I think you just started to get more into No Holds Barred or NHB.
Yeah.
What's now called MMA.
What's it called? When we started hanging out, I wasn't doing boxing so much anymore. I was already at a kickboxing gym.
That's right. Yeah, you were.
Yeah, I was at a and the kickboxing I was doing though, I wasn't really a big fan of because I mean, there, like if you don't know what it is, I'm about to educate y'all right now anyway. This for the cats that don't know.
Yeah.
All right. When it comes to kickboxing, you have a couple of different formats. You have a full contact kickboxing, or what's also known as American rules, which I think is funny because they call it American rules, but it's popular in Europe and it's barely practiced here anymore.
Goddamn Americans always trying to.
We don't even dominate it anymore.
Pansies.
No, but
anyways,
but what's it called? You got American rules kickboxing, which is waist above, and I mean you can't. What's it called? Kicks are waist and above. You can't kick any lower. And you wear like unisex pants. I hate that fucking sport. I respect it just because it's a combat sport. But to this day, honestly, I'll say straight up, I hate it.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason behind that because the coach I had at the time, well, I wanted to move on. I just wanted to do it just to get more ring experience. After 5 fights, move on. Maybe start moving into more Thai boxing.
Yeah.
And MMA, which was ultimately what I wanted to do at that time. But I showed potential in it. I didn't have a passion for it, but I was good at it. And the coach I had at the time really wanted to pursue that, and he just kept kind of luring me on and stuff. So then, you know, I kind of, me being a young cat, I was just like, I kind of went with it. Just because it was like that, he kind of waved that in my face as a string, you know, I was like a donkey and stuff like that. That was the carrot in front of my face to keep moving forward. You know, like, oh, but if you keep doing it, at one point we'll start doing MMA. I'm gonna keep doing it then. You know. So and after a while, I grew to hate it because I didn't want to do it. You know. But there's full contact, which I don't even know what they call it. Originally it was supposed to be called full contact karate, but they went with kickboxing instead. And then there's international rules kickboxing, which is you got leg kicks involved in there. You can't clinch though. You can't knee in that. You can only throw leg kicks, and it's still like everything else. You know, you can punch to the head. You can kick to the head. You're allowed to also kick to the legs. So that's full international rules. Then you got K1 rules, which is kind of like a mixture between like international rules and Muay Thai. And then you got Muay Thai, and then you got Savat rules, which I'm not honestly. I'll be honest with it. I know of it, but I'm not fully sure on the rules or how Savat even goes. You know, I just know of it. All right, and then actually you got what's it called? Like out of the 5 major ones or 4 major ones. All right, you got full contact, you got international rules, you got K1, and then you got Muay Thai. There's like 2 other styles that aren't really. I mean, you have to be hardcore.
Yeah.
To know of them, but I'm not gonna go into those. So I've done full contact, I've done international rules, done K1 rules, I've done and I've done full on Muay Thai. And yeah, I've done MMA, I've done boxing as well and stuff like that. Hit me with another question, otherwise you know I'm gonna keep rambling.
Well, do you think the reason why you did so well in that, I'll play the dummy here. Okay. Do you think the reason why you exceeded so well in kickboxing was because of your Taekwondo background, because that's mostly a kicking.
Yeah, I mean, mostly that, and honestly, like...
Or is it just because maybe you've been in martial arts for so long that you have that advantage over some other people that just come into it, like because you have that training, not with kickboxing, but with other arts.
I mean, honestly, like, I'm gonna say yeah. I'm not gonna paint myself like I'm the baddest nigga.
I'm not trying to.
No, I know. I'm just saying that in general. I have it, and instinct. But I had the one thing like where like all my teachers kind of like, and I'm going from past to present. They've always said I've always had good instincts. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'll put that to contribute. I always had good instincts because like I was brought into it at such an early age.
Yeah, that's all.
So I was taught these maneuvers and stuff. And concepts. Maybe later on I was taught to approach them differently, but I always had the concepts in my head because it was bred to me. It was bred into me in given to me in such a young age. Yeah. Kickboxing, I did, stood out and did decent with it just because it was like I had the Taekwondo in me, and the way the teacher I had at the time for Taekwondo taught us and stuff like that. And honestly, the specific rules I did for Taekwondo was Olympic Taekwondo, or what's known as Olympic Taekwondo nowadays. So it was like I was already accustomed to going, 2-minute round. And going all out basically, so it wasn't like it was anything new. Where like you take like a karate fighter, a karate point fighter, and that's where they start to break. They start to have a hard time doing like forms of kickboxing or even boxing stuff like that because they're used to like as soon as you hit, break, point. Nah, with Taekwondo it's like you keep going, nigga, go.
Yeah.
Until the round's either over or somebody gets KO'd. That's how, so I was already used to that format. Plus, as much as I don't like to, how like I'll go as far as saying how I'll dog street fighters and stuff like that. I had that in me too. I got into a lot of fights later on after my dad passed away, and
well, that had to be a traumatic
experience for you. I was angry for a long time, man. And martial arts.
How old were you
when my dad passed?
Yeah,
I was 6.
Okay, oh Jesus.
Yeah, and my dad passed. My brother was, we all got affected by it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of your life. And it's gone.
Yeah, and so, I didn't have a father figure. Whoa, woo, woo, cry me a river, blah blah blah. No, so I was angry and shit. Because on top of that, and I remember it. I was really close with my dad.
Yeah,
and to this day, I still remember that. I remember like to the point where it was like I could vividly picture him in my head still, like. Detailed. I was close to my dad, So when he died, it was like, well, what do I do now? And then after that, it was like everybody had to go out and work. I was myself a lot of the time, and I was really angry about it for the longest time and shit. So like, growing up, like anybody, you get teased a lot, even from your friends and stuff, because that's how you are.
Yeah.
More, I don't know about nowadays, but I know during our time, we teased each other like motherfuckers,
Yeah.
But like, if somebody cracked a joke on my dad, that was my trigger.
Yeah, I can see that.
I didn't even care if it was like a, it could have been like just a casual like your dad smells or some shit like that. That was my trigger. Don't talk about don't talk about my dad.
Yeah.
A lot of times it was I remember like, and I was like that for the longest time. I was even like that up into my late teens.
Yeah.
It was like, you could talk shit on me all you want. You can talk shit on my mom even to a point. I mean, some points I'll start to get annoyed with that too. Don't say shit on my dad. You say something about my dad. There was no words after that. It was like, all right, you pulled the trigger. Guess what? You're gonna deal with the consequences now. Blah. Or if the nigga was better than me, I'm dealing with the consequences.
One way. Someone's dealing with
consequences. No, you know what though? But even like that was always my ammo on a fight period anyway. Even if I was on the losing end, my whole principle behind a fight was like, I'm gonna fight with everything, and you're gonna know you were in a fight.
Yeah.
Period. Even if I don't walk away the so-called victor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel it.
Yeah. You're gonna feel it, and you're gonna know what. You know what? I'm not gonna fuck with Gus anymore. So yeah, so like by the time I got the up here and I started doing more kickboxing and stuff, like that was part of it anyway. I had that, I kind of had that hard mentality, that dog mentality almost. It's like, you know what, might be losing, but you was in a fight, and but I didn't have a passion for full contact kickboxing. And after a while, like when I kept begging, like, can we move on to something else? Can we go to something else? I only wanted to do this to get some ring experience. Yeah. Because one of my NHB coach at the time suggested I should maybe do some kickboxing matches, But I showed, I guess, promise or whatever, and then they were like, no, let's keep pursuing this, and I'm like, but I really don't want to.
Yeah.
I'll go as far as like saying like there was some fights I threw just because I just didn't want to be in there. My idea at the time was, and I should have spoke up. I should have really spoke up and stood up for myself, but I didn't. It was just more of like mentality at the time was like, you know what? Maybe if I like start like losing, then maybe he'll just be like,
interest.
Yeah. Maybe this ain't for him. Maybe we'll just back up a little bit, but that didn't work.
I remember that times.
Yeah. There was one Pacific fight where I'll tell you straight up, I threw it, but I got hurt in the process too, like bad. When I threw regionals, and I didn't want to be there at all. What's it called? I threw nationals too, actually. I didn't say it to him, but when he took me to nationals, he even said a joke. He said it jokingly, but he knew. He was like, "You threw that fight, didn't you?" And I tried to play it off like, "Why would I do that, man? Come on, I have too much pride to throw a fight." And I was sliding my ass off. But I know he knew because, like I said, he had that. He was like, "You threw it, didn't you? You weren't fighting like you normally fight." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "I didn't throw it, man. He was just better than me."
Excuse me while I look away now.
Yeah. And I'll say, what's it called? The cat that I threw the fight. Like, I mean, had I fought harder, I don't know. I mean, I'll say that confidently. I don't know if I would have came out a victor anyway, but in most sense, I'll say straight up, I was not trying to win either. Yeah. I was just doing enough that way the referee wouldn't stop it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to win. I was just like, let's just go through the motion.
Yeah.
And then regionals, I kind of tried to do the same thing, but regionals, I wasn't training for regionals. I was just put in regionals. I was actually training for Naga, which is a grappling tournament. Mm-hmm. And then when I got put into it, it was I didn't even get asked if I wanted to be in regionals. He just signed me up, paid for registration and everything.
Nice.
And I was like, dude, I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, well, there's two weights you can go at. You can go at you got 152, or we can go at 160. Actually, I think it was like 165. I don't even remember anymore. But it was up in that weight categories. Yeah. And at that time, I was fighting like 50, 52, 53. And I was like, yeah, fuck, I don't really want to cut weight right now, so fine, fuck it. Well, and it was like a week away when he put me in it, top everything else. All I've been doing at that point was training nothing but grappling. Yeah. I hadn't even sparred.
Yeah.
And that kid fucked me up. I was trying to go through the motions and stuff like that, and just trying to protect. But that kid was fucking raw, and he fucked me up. I don't remember it. The only reason why I vaguely remember it now is because like I did like later on watch video of it.
Yeah.
That's how I remembered it. But like, yeah, he busted me up bad. And actually, that was around that. Remember when there was that when I had that fear about like, I might not be fighting anymore because it was like my bro. Yeah, it was during that time. Yeah. That was the reason why. It was regionals. And honestly, that year, like I was like when I finally even placed in a grappling tournament, because before that I wasn't placed in grappling tournaments. And I would go and I had maybe one good match, but I didn't win it. Yeah. I just showed good potential. That year, I placed third. It was the first time I placed in any tournament, and the only reason why I got pulled because like after the match I did that put me in the third, and I was gonna move up to go the fight for first and second. I started like dry. I started fucking puking. I started feeling really sick, and that was because I was dealing with a concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my coach was like, you know what? You did good today. I'm pulling you. And I was so pissed off because I was like, man, fuck. Yeah. I actually had a chance to actually win Naga in my division.
Yeah.
And I got fucked over only because of like this fucking stupid shit I had to do
thing.
The week before. Jesus. Fuck, I was mad, man.